Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Healthy Moving Podcast, the show that empowers you to exercise less, but move more so you will feel better. I am your healthy moving enthusiast, Jen Hoffman from healthymoving.com. Today we're talking worry. You probably know that stress and worry has an impact on your body. But did you know that you can use your body and how you move it to process and reduce worry? And don't be confused, I'm not talking about that typical advice to go for a run or an intense workout to forget about things either. I'll tell you exactly what I mean in today's show. Plus, I'm answering a listener question I've been asked a lot in the past few weeks about walking, one of my favorite forms of healthy moving, in the summer heat. I've got lots of good stuff for you today. Thanks so much for joining me. For those of you that have been listening for a while, you know I spend a lot of time talking about how we can improve the quality and quantity of our movement to reduce physical pain. But weaving healthy moving into our day isn't just good for our physical health. It also has a profound ability to improve our mental and emotional well-being. I'll be the first to admit, by nature, I'm a worrywart. I have a really great imagination, and if I'm not careful, boy, can it dream up some pretty awful worst-case scenarios on a regular basis. It doesn't take much to trigger my fear and anxiety on an average day, but when I'm walking through one of life's really scary days, my anxiety can spiral out of control quickly. Last Wednesday was one of those really scary days in my life. My beloved mom had surgery to rid her body of cancer. The night before the surgery, I was expecting the surgery to be about 6-ish hours long. It ended up taking double that. And because I'm not all about suspense here, I just want to tell you from the start, I am so happy to report that it went amazingly well, although very long, and her prognosis is fantastic. My mom is going to be amazingly healthy very soon. She's home recovering, and I appreciate all of your well wishes and prayers in that process. But those 12 hours that she was in the OR, oh my goodness, they were terrifying. Being that I'm about 33 weeks pregnant, it was important that I worked diligently to manage my worry on Wednesday. I didn't want to work myself up and go into labor. My little guy needs some more time in the oven. But we can't just decide to not worry, can we? One of the worst things we can say to ourselves or someone else who's feeling scared is, don't worry. We can't just decide not to worry. Each time the worry would swell up as I waited for updates from the operating room, I acknowledged it. I allowed myself to feel it. I let the tears come, and I noticed where in my body I could feel the fear. The actual physical sensation of it is what I'm talking about. Sometimes it was in my shoulders or in my breath, and unfortunately, many times throughout the day, the worry did cause me to have contractions, so I could feel it even in my uterus. All of the physical sensations that I experienced could be described as hard, stiff, tense. After I owned the worry, I used my body to process and ultimately reduce it. One of my all-time favorite mantras is, the harder something is, the more it requires my softness. When I recognized that the physical sensation of worry was hard, I immediately used my body to go soft. I felt the softness of the tears as they slid down my cheeks. I put my hands around my rib cage to remind my breath to restore a gentle wave of expansion and contraction in that part of my body. I even held and snuggled my kids and softened every muscle in my body as I breathed in the aroma of their sweet-smelling heads. I consciously relaxed my shoulders. At about the 9-hour mark, my worry was getting the best of me, though, and I told my husband we needed to go for a walk at the beach. I was very specific about the beach because with each step, I invited my body to mimic the softness of the sand under my feet. I listened to the sound of the gentle waves. I watched the reeds of grass bend softly in the evening breeze. Go soft, go soft, go soft. I repeated it silently to myself over and over. The worry is going to come, friends. It's part of life. But when it does, we have to name it and feel it. And then we can replace it. We can transform it into something else. But a worried mind often needs the help of the physical body to transform. We all know that our emotions impact our physical body, but we can use our body to impact our emotions as well. It's a two-way street. When our emotions threaten to get the best of us, our bodies can lead the way out. We just have to be present enough in them to know that, to embrace it, and to use them. You know, I always like to give you some free healthy moving, and I have a special one for you today. I've found that the psoas muscle, which runs from the bottom part of your mid-back or the top part of your low back, all the way down to the front of your thigh, it's a muscle that both pays the price for our worry, but it also can help to ease it. If you're in a stressful season, or if you have to log a lot of hours in a chair, maybe you're not so stressed, but you sit a lot, then I have this wonderful, relaxing psoas release video for you this week. It's absolutely free. You can get it by texting RELEASE ME, all one word, RELEASEME, release me, to 33444. And I'll send you the video right away. Your body and mind will love it. Okay, I'll be right back with this week's Q&A. So I have received this question so many times over the last few weeks that I'm not going to attribute it to any one person. But everybody wants to know, Jen, how do I get my walking in when it's so hot and humid outside? And for my listeners who are in the southern hemisphere, I know it can be the reverse of that. How do I get my walking in when it's so freezing cold outside right now? When the weather is intense, it's important to still find ways to get our healthy moving in. And I am a huge advocate of walking. So one of the questions that often comes up is, should I be doing my walking on a treadmill? And I have a lot of big thoughts about the treadmill. What I'll say is, if it's the only way that you can move your body, well then, yes, it's, I guess, better than absolutely nothing. But there's a lot of negative side effects to those machines. The belt, it reduces the natural gait pattern, so a lot of the benefits that you get from healthy walking, we lose. Something like toning the pelvic floor while walking, you can't do that on the treadmill, and you might even create pelvic floor problems. But it also reverses the reciprocal arm swing that tones our arms and helps support healthy shoulders. And I think there's also this neurological tax because your head isn't moving through the environment, but your body is moving. So there's some kind of price to pay for that. So I do recommend trying to find another more, quote, natural way to move your body. So what are you left to do whenever it's so hot outside? Here's what I do. I live in Florida where the heat and humidity reign in the summer, so I can totally relate to this. And I am very pregnant right now. But I am still, the past few weeks, I have been walking an average of 40 miles a week. So here's how I do it. My family's main strategy is to walk in the evening. It works better for us than the early morning hours, but that's an option too. We like to do family walks together, and the evening just works best for us. If you can do those walks around an open body of water, like a lake, there's often a nice breeze that's blowing in the evening as well. And of course, while I love walking on natural surfaces, I think walking indoors is better than nothing at all. So how many times a day can you take a 5 or 10 minute walk around the house or the office? Maybe even just 5 to 10 minutes every 2 hours throughout your day. Or if you want to go for a longer walk somewhere inside, like a mall or a grocery store, maybe an airport if you can get in one, or a hotel. When I was pregnant with my son 3 summers ago, I used to go to Target and walk the aisles at Target in the middle of the summer heat. There's lots of options for still moving forward in space and traveling across ground without having to hop on the treadmill. And of course, doing it in air conditioning or in heat if you're living somewhere where it's really cold right now. The other thing I also like to point out is that doing your movement, weaving your movement, like I always talk about, into the fabric of your day, getting nice, healthy moving breaks in so that you're not keeping your body sitting at your desk chair or staying in one place for a prolonged period of time. Standing up and doing some calf stretches or hamstring stretches, quad stretches, those kind of things that I teach all the time about weaving into your day can also be helpful to just keep the blood flow going and keep you moving, even when you're not walking in the middle of the day outside. Okay, I think that answers the question. Hopefully that inspires you to get some good old-fashioned healthy moving in, even in the extreme climate that you might be living in right now. You know I love answering your questions. If you have one you'd like me to answer on a future episode, call me anytime with a question at 201-580-MOVE, or you can click the Leave Me a Message link in the show notes at healthymovingpodcast.com. As a way of saying thanks, if I use your question on a future episode, I'll send you a little something in the mail. You know I love your feedback on the show, and if you're interested in helping me out, head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review. Not only do I appreciate all of your feedback, but when you do those things, it helps other people to find the show, and I so appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thank you again so much for joining me. Until next week, friends, keep moving.